Hi, I'm Larry Berman, and here's what's on my radar this week. We heard from Deputy Governor of the Bank of Canada, Lane, and the discussion was about digital currencies and the need for central banks to move more rapidly. COVID has accelerated that calendar, and in fact, digital currencies all over the world from central banks are going to be a big priority. But when you think about it today, we already have this, it's debits and credits and invisible money moving. Very few transactions these days takes place in actual hard coin and currency. But we do think the move to digital currencies are going to be big. But I also believe very strongly that there's going to be no independent currencies like Bitcoin or independent vehicles like Bitcoin in the future. I think central banks will always need to control the money supply. Things like Bitcoin will exist as payment systems, I believe, but there must be transparency because the biggest concern from governments are anti-money laundering and issues like that, which predominantly these digital currencies are being used for today. Of course, big focus these days still on the US elections. It's probably the most important issue, notwithstanding US earnings being important, but really how does the election play out? The races are clearly tightening. We saw in lieu of a debate this week, we saw a head-to-head town hall in terms of Biden and Trump doing the same thing at the same time on national TV. And the verdict are in, and something like 500,000 viewers were watching online Biden, and Trump had about a third of the viewers. So Mr. Ratings, very disappointing on the Trump camp. Having said that, some of the top pollsters in the US, Trafalgar being one of them, ranked very highly and credible and were very good at calling Trump the winner. In fact, one of the only few that called Trump the winner in 2016 are saying in key swing states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, the polls are tightening rapidly. So the market's priced a week ago, for a blue wave, and now we're likely to see a post-election period of more confusion, and the markets aren't ready for that today. We're continuing to get very good news on the COVID front. There are challenges, of course, but the CEO of Pfizer wrote an open letter to the world that came out on their website Friday morning, and it basically said by end of October, we're going to have somewhat reliable efficacy data on how the vaccines are going versus placebo. And, for him to say something like that, it's got to be meaningful. He's got to have some sort of inside knowledge, if you will, about how these things are progressing. And then on the safety side of things, because there's three elements to approving these things as vaccines. On the safety side, by the third week in November, they expect to have enough intelligence then to start moving ahead in terms of actually producing these things and getting them out to the public. But it's probably not going to be for this flu season, and we are really worried that the cases today globally, which are pushing 400,000, are likely to spike to double that or more during the peak of flu season as we get into December and January. And with the confusion around the election, this still is going to present some challenges for markets. But as we get closer to a vaccine, there will be an inflection point. So in this week's bull and bear pick of the week, I've got an idea for you, not necessarily a trade you would put on today, but something to think about on how to play this eventuality that we start normalizing, which I still think at a very minimum is not until 2022, where people are comfortable going out. So the bear pick of the week is to be short biotech, S&P Biotech Index ETF, XBI. So this is something that's been boosted by lots of potentials within all of biotech, but very specifically with hopes around vaccine and viral treatments for COVID. Once we get them, we'll likely see a peak there. On the other side of that trade, reflating the economy, going back to normalization, is all about things we can't do today, and that's leisure and hospitality. Invesco has an ETF that plays that sector, that gives you exposure to restaurants, hotels, and all kinds of leisure activity like casinos. PEJ is the ETF to be long, to play the depressed sectors as things reflate. Again, I'm not doing that trade today. It is on my radar. Have a great week, everybody. Be safe, be healthy, be smart. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow the alerts so you know when new content is out.